Hello, everybody. This is Audrey Mack for the Gospel. And today I'm going to answer a question. Can the devil force you to be sick? It's a good question, isn't it? Well, it's a continuation of the message from last week where I talked about where did sickness come from, amen, and how we had to, have a holy, righteous anger against sickness, never to tolerate it in our lives. And so today I want to add another dimension to it and talk about how the devil cannot force you to be sick. You have a role to play and you are more powerful than you think. And did you know that we saw that sickness in God's eyes was just like sin. They came at the same time, and God hate one and the other the same, and so should we. But did you also know that the devil, he works with sickness in the same way that he works with sin? So what do I mean by that? If the devil wants you to sin, what is he going to do? He's going to bring a temptation on your path. And so a temptation, what is it? It's like the little carrot, that you put in front to try to, for the little donkey. Or it's like the little, the little hook that the fish is going to bite into, He's going to try to make you to bite the hook. And when you do, that temptation is not sin yet. You have not sinned when you are being tempted. But if you submit yourself to the temptation, if you accept it and you fall into that temptation, then James says that it becomes sin that in turn gives birth to death. And so I'm explaining all of that to bring a point across that the devil will work with sickness in exactly the same way. You see, symptoms are to sickness what temptation is to sin. The devil will work the same way. He will bring symptoms into your body, knock at your door. And it will not be sickness, but until you accept it, you tolerate it, you submit to it. And then those symptoms will give birth to sickness, which in turn could give birth to or produce death. Amen. You understand what I mean? And so, for me, it's good news. It's good news because it shows me that I am more powerful than I think. I have power against the symptoms. I don't have to accept them as being sickness. I can stand against it like James 4:7 to resist it. And I should. That's what I was teaching about, not tolerating it and just having that righteous anger. Amen. But you see, that also shows me that so many people are sick. Why? Because they have given permission to Satan through those symptoms. They have accepted it or through their words. In Matthew 16, verse 19, before Jesus, went back to the Father, he told the disciples, he says, I give you the keys of the kingdom. Now, keys, you understand, represents authority. Keys is what enables you to come in and out, to have power. When you have the key, you got power over the house. Amen. So Jesus says, I give you the keys of the kingdom. I give you authority. And then he follows by saying, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Now, when he's talking about heaven here, he's not talking about the heaven where God lives. He's talking about, the second heaven, where the spirit world, where the demonic activity is. And Jesus is saying here, you've got authority, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in the spirit realm. And I love in the complete Jewish Bible, I like that translation. It says, whatever you allow on earth will be allowed in that heaven, in the spirit realm. Whatever you forbid on earth will be forbidden in that spirit realm in the heavens. Amen. And so we find out here that we have authority about what's going on in the spiritual realm and here on the earth. And it is up to us because we have authority. And how do we exercise authority? Through our words. Do you know that? Life and death are in the power of the word. And I love that, Jesus said in Mark 11:23, when he was talking about faith and authority, he says, when you pray, you must believe that you receive. And then he said in verse 23, believe that the things that you say will be done and you will have what you say. So in another word, if you say, well, at this time of the year, if there is a virus, I'm gonna get it. What have you just done? You have said something and you're sure to have it because you have loosed something on the earth that is loose in the spirit realm. And do not be surprised if the devil every year at that time, bam, here again, puts a virus on you. You see? And that's the words. Words are powerful. You see? And so it's the same thing. I hear people sometimes almost jokingly, they'll say, well, my father had cancer, my grandfather had cancer, I might just have cancer. As if it's a joke. When in reality, sometimes they don't joke, they just say it because they're convinced of it. But here again, they will have what they say. No surprise if one day they find themselves with cancer knocking at the door. It is so, our words are so powerful. But not only the words that you say, but also the word that are spoken to you. Talking about, cancer or whatever. You'll go to the doctor, and happens a lot. The doctor will ask you a question, and they will say, well, do you have history in your family of, heart problem? And you might say, well, yeah, there's been strokes in our family, or there's been heart failure in our family. My grandfather had it, and then what will the doctor say? Well, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, you're going to expect, be careful because you probably are going to have a heart problem. At that moment, what just happened? He spoke something over your life. And those words, according to the Bible, became a weapon formed against you and gave permission in the spirit realm. This is exactly what Isaiah 54 verse 17 actually says. He says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every word pronounced against you in judgment, you shall condemn. So you see, if you don't say anything, you've given it permission. And you have at that moment to condemn those words, cancel them so that they don't become a weapon. Well, you don't have to be mean or you don't have to be rude. You can, with a big smile on your face, say, doctor, well, thank you. I know you're doing your job, but no, thank you. I will not have a heart problem. I'm a believer, a child of God, and the Spirit of God lives in me. However you want to say it, but just say it with a smile, but just at that moment, cancel those words so they don't become a weapon and they don't open a door in the spirit realm to allow the devil to go into something to you. And that's the reason why we cannot be passive. People think, well, I don't want to offend, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to do anything. And so many times people keep their mouth shut. And you know what is happening by not saying anything? You have given it permission. That's exactly what happened to Adam in the garden. In Genesis 3, it says that when Satan came to tempt Eve, Adam was right there. He was right next to Eve. He saw and he heard. And you know what he did? Nothing. He remained passive. And by his passivity, what happened? What happened? Sin entered into the world. And Satan took that authority. The door was opened. So I really, really want to encourage you. It is not to condemn. It is not an opportunity to get condemned. Amen. If you have done it in the past, don't be condemned. But from now on, know that you have power. You are more powerful than you know. And it's an opportunity maybe to be careful about what you say or others say. And don't get into paranoia. Amen. Just be wise, because life and death are in the power of your tongue. God bless you. I hope that has been a blessing to you. And we'll see you soon for another gospel.